Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of Lend Me Your Engineers. I am Marissa, your podcast co host and co explorer of all things UCF engineering and computer science. With me today is my co host extraordinaire, Margot Winnick, UCF's Media Relations Manager. How are you today, Margot?
Doing very well, thanks. And it's always good to meet someone connected with the college who's doing interesting things with their degree. And this alumnus today, he's going to share some exciting work. He sure leads an adventurous life.
That is for sure. So today we are chatting with Tim Telkamp, an electrical engineering alumnus and the manager of enterprise infrastructure here at UCF. Tim is about to embark on an 11-month trip around the world, sailing for a good cause. His goal is to raise funds for Duke University's Preston Robert Tisch Brain Tumor Center in honor of his brother-in-law. So without further ado, let's welcome Tim to the podcast. How are you, Tim?
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us about this race that you have entered and who you're going to be sailing with.
So the absolutely. So the race is the Clipper Around the World Yacht Race. It is a professional yacht race that is run every 2 years. This is now its 14th edition, and it is the only major yacht race in the world that amateurs can apply and get training and actually race on the racing yachts. It's 40,000 miles from Portsmouth, England, all the way around the planet back to Portsmouth, England.
Tell, tell us about your brother in law and why is it that you decided to embark on this trip, doing so in his memory?
Sure. So, my brother-in-law, Bob Spihalski, he is a alumni as well. He actually, there's a whole bunch in my family. 14 of us, I think, was the last count in my immediate family.
Wow.
But Bob, so I've been married to my wife Kathleen for 35 years. Bob is Kathleen's brother, and in 2010, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is a brain tumor. Um, he was an outdoorsy guy. He liked to surf. He liked to go out on boats, and there were times when he and I would sit around just talking. And one time I was like, "Yeah, I'd really like to race a sailboat." And we got into this long conversation about racing boats and sports, water sports stuff. And it was just a memory I had that after we lost Bob, and I sort of decided I wanted to do this thing and sail. I remembered that conversation, so I decided he needs to go with me in some way, and that's what kind of led to the fundraising effort and the conversation to keep the conversation going about him and to make people aware that we can do something about this.
I love that. And how are you prepping for 11 months at sea? Because that's quite a long time to be away from your family and, away from land.
Very much. We do it is a 14-leg journey, or it's an 8-leg journey. There's actually 14 individual races, so we're in port 14 times around the globe. But we are at sea for about 230 something days total through the next year. The prep's been interesting. I spent a lot of time in the gym trying to, build endurance and stamina. The mental side of it has been quite a challenge, knowing that when I fly out next week for England, I won't be back for a year. That's a little bit daunting. Um, yeah, and it's just a matter of we only have a small amount of stuff we can carry with us, so it's a matter of deciding, oh, do I take a pair of socks or a pair of headphones to listen to music? Do I take a notebook, or do I take a recorder and stuff like that? So it's been a challenge.
Well, besides being super efficient with your packing, what is exciting you most about this trip? And remind us again, where are you traveling to? What's the ultimate destination?
So the race begins in Portsmouth, UK, so in the southern part of England. We go from there to Spain. That's first race. The next race is to Uruguay. So that is like halfway across the globe, like straight down the Atlantic. We go over to Africa from there, and then we cross the Southern Ocean to Australia, up to China, cross the Pacific to Seattle, through the Panama Canal to Washington D.C. and back to Portsmouth. So it's a complete lap of the Earth.
Fantastic.
That is really cool. So, are you going to get the chance to spend some time in these countries, or are you just going to pass right by them?
Absolutely. What we'll do when we pull in is we'll have to reprovision the yacht, make any repairs. This is a racing yacht, and this is a race. So we run these boats hard. They're very, very solid, sturdy boats, but sails rip. You know, things need tuned and changed and fixed. Plus, some of the legs have 20 people on the yacht for 30 days at a time without stopping. So we have to go and get supplies and pack the supplies away so where we can get to them when we need to like make dinner and lunch and stuff. So there's a lot of work to be done in port, but we do get a day or two downtime in each port. So we do get to have a little bit of the flavor of each of the ports.
Well, good. Hopefully, you can do a little bit of sightseeing in some of these
Hopefully.
places. Yeah. So, how can listeners follow you while you're at sea?
So I've set up a little pick list on my website. So my website's tintypetim.com. And if you go to tintypetim.com/go, you can pick your own way of following me. So there will be a race tracker where you can go in and cheer on. I'm on the name of my boat, or the sponsor of my boat is um, the Power of Seattle Sports. So the Seattle Sports Commission, um, that's the professional sports teams like the Seahawks, the Mariners, the WNBA team, the hockey team, collectively are sponsoring our yacht. So it's wrapped with their brand. So you can go to a race tracker through that link and actually cheer us on each leg and see how we're doing. And as long as we're not in stealth mode, you can see exactly where we're at on the planet.
Fascinating. Now, I know you've also done a lot of adventure sports on land. So you've motorcycled, I understand, from coast to coast. What is it that sparks your sense of adventure?
I just think there's just so much in the world to see, and I've never been one to sit idly around. My engineering career has let me do amazing things professionally. I worked on the B 2 bomber aircraft. I worked on the space shuttle launch control. But all these things kind of made me realize, oh, well, what's the next cool thing I'm going to do? So um, one day, my nephew and I were talking. We said, we should go for. I wonder how far we could ride our motorcycles. And we next thing we know, we're in Los Angeles, standing at the edge of the Pacific Ocean, and we turned around and rode it back. So um, it sort of just happens.
So, no plans after the sailing, or do you have like more like of an adventure bucket list? Other things that you want to check off?
So don't tell my wife, but she, she knows. Um, w- One of the bucket list things on my list is I'd like to ride down to Key West on my motorcycle, and then go up from there to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, in one trip. So kind
Wow.
of diagonally across North America. That's one. And then when I get done with this trip, now I've traveled quite a bit. I've been in 30 countries ish so far. Um, but I still won't there's still a continent I will not have made it to after this trip, which is Antarctica. So that's sort of out there as well. How can I get there? But we'll see.
Awesome. All right. Well, when you hit in Antarctica, you'll have to come back on the podcast and tell us all about it.
I'll take the invite for sure.
We'd love to follow those adventures as well. So definitely come back. But I understand you're also an artist. So, how does that type of creativity tie into your interest in engineering?
So I'm a very technical artist, is the way I would describe myself. When I've always played with cameras, I've always had one in my hand. When digital photography became a thing, and while photography was transitioning from film, which was this very tactile thing, I was also a very senior engineer. So I worked on very complex projects, and I didn't want to go home and play with more technology. So I went home and started exploring what is the oldest photography that one could still do. And I ended up discovering tintyping. Tintyping is from the middle 1800s. If you've ever seen a picture of Abraham Lincoln, that was a tintype. So it goes back to that era, and it just made me want to say, you know what, I'm going to do this thing that's so different than my day job. Doing highly technical, complex things with my engineering degree, and then I want to go home and do nothing related to that engineering degree. Um, but ironically, it's a very scientific process. It's very measured. You have to be very careful with it. The chemicals are explosive and poisonous, and it's so a lot of the careful methodologies that I, as an engineer, used in my day job, like carried into this form of art.
You're a true Renaissance man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
you
just
need
me.
we love it, and, it's interesting that you say that because I have heard a lot of engineers, whether it's students, alums, faculty, they will say, like, they love to tap into the creative side, and they love to just turn that technical side of their brain off and just go into art or go into music or, whatever it is that they love to do. It just helps them keep that balance between that technical side and that creativity.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your job at UCF, and what interested you in coming to UCF as a student, and then why did you want to come return to work here at the university?
So I grew up in Sanford, not far north of here, and I mean, it was just always here. My neighbor when I was a kid was a professor of an adjunct professor of civil engineering. So there was I'm gonna date myself here, but there was FTU stuff all over his house. Um, so when I graduated high school, um, I wasn't really in a place to go to college. I enlisted in the Navy. The Navy gave me the opportunity to go to college, so I came home, um, and I looked around the state and I said, "You know what? I want to stay home. I this is home to me." And the degree was right because you know I grew up in the shadow of Kennedy Space Center, and the story was right, and I just wanted to stay and be part of this.
We are so glad you found a path back here. Wonderful.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for current engineering and computer science students?
Oh wow. Um, chase your passions. Don't. My advice would be don't chase anybody else's passion. Chase yours. So, and by that I mean, um, if you're in a highly technical field and that's what charges you up, make sure you balance it with something else that you're passionate about. You mentioned music before. You meant, whether it's art or music or craft or just going home and playing with 3D printer or playing with your dog, but balance that high tech with something that's not, because the technology is just going to keep going. But you know, who we are is more than just the technology around us, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love that. But speaking of technology, is there anything that you had wished you had learned in school that's, like, going on now in the world?
Um, I actually go a little bit the other way. I feel a little bit fortunate I went through my degree pre-AI because I think that, AI, for all the things that where it's gonna help humanity, I think that puts a set of pressures on teaching and learning that, um, wow, I don't know how I would react to it. So I think I would go the other way. Remember when I wanted to, chase photography, I went all the way back to the 1800s. So I
Yeah,
don't know that I'm looking forward. I tend to look at, and be very grateful for the moment I came through here.
I'm with you. I still prefer to write in a notebook than to type and all of
Absolutely.
this. Marco will tell you Teams is not my friend. Technology just does not jive with me. So, I
Well,
like to keep it old
UCFIT
school.
is here to help with that, by the way.
Good.
Plug for my
Perfect,
day
perfect
job.
segue. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you have any advice on how I can be friends with teams, please let me know.
Just have to be nice to it.
I
It's
try,
not
I
good
try.
advice, is it?
Yeah. It's not nice to me. Uh,
No.
well, let's go back a little bit because you had mentioned, worked on the B-2 bomber, working with NASA. Tell us a little bit about those. What was your career like before you came to UCF?
Yeah, when I graduated, um, my claim to fame is I was the last graduating class that graduated in the gymnasium. So the class after me was in what's now the venue. Again, dating myself. That's all right. But so I graduated, I got my engineering degree, went to work for Harris Corporation. Spent about 10 years in the defense and aerospace. world, had moved into management, technology management, and a friend of mine had moved into healthcare. He was a computer science grad who had become the CIO of a healthcare company, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come manage in my IT team?" And so I shifted into healthcare, um, spent about 15 years there, and working all over the place. And then I moved into consulting for a while, and got to touch a whole lot of cool projects there. But yeah, it's been interesting. I Through my career, I've tended to work on some very highly complex, like global telecommunications project I worked on, and then I get burnt out and say, you know what, I think it's time for me to be a manager. And then I work a couple years in management, and then I realize, oh, I'm used to be pretty smart. Maybe I better go do another project. So I've flip flopped a little bit there, but um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's kind of my story.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, your interest and your sense of adventure is really inspiring. It's great to chat with you, and it's great to, kind of follow along. I'm looking forward to seeing how far your journey takes you,
Right? It's a circumnavigation. It's going to take me right back here, all the way around the planet.
and you'll come back a changed person. Let's see.
Or we wasted a lot of time, I think, but yeah.
Hopefully not. It sounds like it's gonna be an amazing experience. So,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
honestly, yeah, it's pretty unique to go all the way around the world. So,
My skipper is just a solid sailor. She's Dutch, and, she's got a lot of miles behind her, and, she's super smart, and I just, feel so lucky to have landed on the crew I landed on, my skipper, my mate, and the team that we're building around us. We're ready. We're going.
very cool. And how does someone get involved with this race if they're interested? Is it like you have to apply for it or
You
you
have to
just sign up
apply.
for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's Clip Around the World. I think it's cliparoundtheworld.com. And there's an application process, so you have to be physically, able to do it. They interview you. Um, if you well, it's not if, you everybody, regardless of whether you know how to sail or not, which I did not when I signed up for this. I've never really sailed before. You go through their training, and that and their training is about teaching you how to sail those racing yachts efficiently, but they're also looking at folks saying, "Is this person gonna make it? Are they mentally prepared to be, 30 days of constant work?" There's no break. It's 24 hours a day that boat has to be sailed, so we're either on watch or we are in our bunk sleeping, and that's it for 30 days at a time. So the training program is phenomenal. It's very safety oriented. Um, we they stress, uh, how to make sure that you don't get hurt, that you don't hurt someone else, that you stay on the boat and don't end up in the water. All those kind of things are stressed. You get to the end of that, and yeah, if you're once you make it to the end of that, you're hopefully selected for a crew, which I was, and yeah, and then you're ready to go.
Cool. Well, you're gonna have to share all the pictures and videos of all of the different countries and all the sites that you see with us.
It'll all be on, the I gave you the link earlier. So, I'm gonna be do some storytelling, a little bit of video, best I can, a little bit of writing as best I can, but I do want, especially the UCF community, to, tune in a little bit, but also remember that this is not just about me sailing around the world. This is about Bob and a fellow alum that we lost, and yeah, gonna put there's my plug again for the fundraising.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for being with us today. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
My pleasure.
And thank you, Margot, for co-hosting.
A pleasure. And Tim, this is just an incredible journey. Thanks for sharing this with us. We'll be following along. I see you've got a Substack link on your website as well. So, bon voyage. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Don't forget to follow us on social media at UCF CECS and subscribe to our podcast on Apple or Spotify. And one more time, Tim, where can they follow you?
It's tintighttim.com.
Perfect. All right. Until next time.